What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on Seattle Sports Talk. I'm Nick LeBeau. If you haven't already, please go down below, drop a like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you get updated on every time I upload, as we are back with the second bonus video of today. Although you guys will be seeing this Monday at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Pacific, right before the Denver-Utah game in the first round of the NBA playoffs. If you haven't already guessed, this is my NBA bubble playoff bracket. And yeah, let's get right into it. So the first round, we have... Well, first I'll announce what teams are playing which, in case you guys don't already know. Alright, so the number 1 seed Lakers are playing the number 8 seed Blazers. This is for the West, by the way. Number 4 seed Rockets are playing the number 5 seed Thunder. And then Denver's playing Utah. Clippers are playing the Mavs. And then for the Eastern side, Bucks are playing the Magic. Miami's playing Indiana. Boston's playing the Sixers. And the Raptors are playing the Nets. All right, let's get right into it. So for the first game on the West here in the first round, I have the Lakers and Blazers. So for this series, I have it being very, very tight between both teams. I think LeBron and Anthony Davis are a more talented duo than Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. But those Blazers will put up a fight, taking the series to Game 7, where the Lakers just barely win it in the last seconds of the game. All right, let's move on to the Rockets versus the Thunder. This is another very close series. I believe Russell Westbrook is injured, but yeah. So I have this being a really close game. You know, Chris Paul playing his old team. I think he'll be on fire. I think this is another game series that will go into a Game 7. I have the Rockets coming out on this one just barely by an inch. You know, I really don't like the Thunder, so that's kind of a bias. But yeah, I still think the Rockets will win with James Harden. All right, Denver and Utah. I think, surprisingly, this will be another Game 7. I think Utah and Denver are two very, evenly matched teams. While it wouldn't say that on the paper via seeding, I think they are. I think this will be, both teams have a pretty good defense. They both have premier players on offense. And yeah, I think it will go to Game 7 with Denver taking the series. All right, going to the last game series of the first round. The number 2 Clippers are playing the number 7 Mavs. I think it'll be the Clippers, obviously. But I'll give Luka Doncic one game over them. I say the series will go into 5 games with the Mavs just barely beating the Clippers in one game, but other than that, Clippers will dominate. Moving on to the East, I have the Bucks walking all over the Magic in a 4-game series. Bucks sweep them 4-0, not even close. Magic have no shot of winning any games. And yeah. All right, moving on to Miami and Indiana. I have this going into a Game 7. I do. I think these are, again, two pretty evenly matched teams, and I think they'll both compete well. I have the Heat topping the Indiana Pacers just barely. Another kind of final minute game. So the Heat will move on to the semifinals to face the Bucks. Moving down to Boston, the Boston Celtics and Philadelphia 76ers. I have this being a 5-game series. I'll give the Sixers one game over Boston, but for the most part, it will be Boston dominating the entire series. I think they'll just slip off maybe one game and let the Sixers top them. But so the Celtics will move on to the semifinals. Raptors, Nets. Do you know what? I'm going to give the Nets one game over the Raptors. I think that the Nets will pull kind of what they did to Portland, but this time they will top the Raptors in one game. But other than that, it'll be the Raptors dominating the entire series. Moving on to the semifinals for the West, we have the Lakers versus the Rockets and the Denver Nuggets versus the Los Angeles Clippers. All right, Lakers Rockets. I have this being a 6-game series. Lakers topping them 4-2. I think the Rockets and James Harden, Russell Westbrook coming back. I think they'll dominate a couple games, but I think the Lakers will take the majority of the games, moving on to the conference finals. Now down for Denver and Los Angeles Clippers. Again, I have Denver taking the Clippers in 2 games. I think that Denver will just kind of top them in 2 games. Maybe get on top of them by just a bit. A fourth quarter victory, last second victory for Denver in those 2 games. But for the most part, the Clippers will dominate and they will move on to face the Lakers in the conference finals. Moving on to the semifinals for the Eastern Conference, I have the Bucks playing the Heat and the Celtics playing the Raptors. Bucks Heat, I'll give it 5. I think the Bucks will dominate. Heat will get them in 1 game. I think the Heat have a pretty talented roster, and I think they'll dominate a lot more in 2021. But yeah, Bucks move on to the conference finals, where they will place either the Celtics or the Raptors. You'll see in a sec. I have this series between the Celtics and Raptors going into a Game 7, with the Celtics just barely coming on top. Literally, Game 7 comes down to literally the final 3 seconds of the game, where the Celtics just barely get that perfect shot off and top the Raptors, moving on to the conference finals against the Bucks. All right, moving to the conference finals for the Western Conference, the Los Angeles Lakers are facing their brother Los Angeles team in the Clippers. I have this being a 7-game series. I think I have the Lakers coming out on top. Kawhi Leonard will be on fire for 3 games. LeBron James, Anthony Davis will be on fire. Paul George will be on fire. This is probably going to be one of the best conference finals we've ever seen. Every single game in this series will come down to the last 5 seconds of the game. But I do have the Lakers topping them just barely by an inch. Moving on to the finals. All right, conference finals for the Eastern Conference. Bucks and the Celtics. I have this going to another Game 7. I really like the Bucks, but I also really like the Celtics in the playoffs. I think the Celtics have kind of something to prove, But I just think that the Celtics and Bucks will dominate, kind of like the Lakers and Clippers did, but not in as exciting of a fashion. I do have the Bucks coming on top to head to the finals. I think just their roster and team in general, players in general, are better than the Celtics. So the Bucks move on to face the Lakers in the NBA Finals, where it will be one of the most exciting finals we've ever seen, coming down to, you guessed it, the last 5 seconds of the game, the final shot. Who will get it? Will it be Giannis or will it be LeBron? It is going to be LeBron James with the final shot, just like he did when they played the Clippers in the bubble for the first time. It's just going to be an incredible shot, just barely winning it to be the NBA champions for the 2020 season. LeBron James hoisting up that Finals MVP trophy. He worked super hard. Anthony Davis right next to him smiling. J.R. Smith popping the champagne. And yeah, that's it for my NBA playoff predictions. All right, what do you guys think? Drop them in the comments below. You guys will be seeing this at 10 a.m. right Pacific time, right before tip-off of the Denver and Utah game. And yeah, please, if you haven't already, drop a like, subscribe, ring that bell. Check out my Instagram, which is the link is in the bio. And yeah, without further ado, see y'all in the next video. This was the second bonus video for this week. And yeah, see y'all next time. Go Hawks.